The Galactic Council of Scholars erupted into chaos as Cygnus, the Hirogen xenobiologist, presented his findings. Humans thrived on chaos, a revelation that sent shockwaves through the assembly of alien intellectuals. "Impossible!" bellowed a tentacled Zornian diplomat, his appendages flailing in disbelief. Cygnus stood firm, his scaled skin glistening under the harsh lights of the emergency session chamber on Proxima 7. He tapped a command on his holoprojector, displaying images of the human settlement on Nexus 9. For 6 standard cycles, we watched as other species' outposts crumbled under the planet's relentless storms and seismic activity, Cygnus explained, his voice steady despite the gravity of his words. Yet the humans, led by one Gary Holmes, not only survived but flourished. The images shifted, showing humans constructing buildings that swayed with tremors, solar arrays that tracked the chaotic movements of Nexus 9's twin suns, and atmospheric processors that filtered the ever-changing toxic atmosphere. "They've harnessed the chaos," Cygnus continued, turning unpredictability into a catalyst for advancement. "Their technology evolves daily, adapting to challenges that would break lesser species." The council members murmured, a mix of awe and fear rippling through the chamber. An Etherian elder raised a crystalline hand, silencing the room. This trait, the elder's thoughts resonated in their minds, poses a potential threat to cosmic order. We must investigate further. Agreement rippled through the assembly. They quickly reached a consensus. An observation team led by Cygnus would be dispatched to Earth immediately. As the council adjourned, Cygnus's communicator buzzed. A secure transmission from his network of informants on Earth appeared on the screen. He read it, his eyes widening. Meanwhile, on Earth, Gary Holmes strode through the gleaming corridors of Space Command headquarters. The veteran explorer's weathered face bore the marks of countless missions, each more daring than the last. Commander Holmes," a voice called out. Gary turned to see Admiral Chen approaching, her uniform crisp and her expression grave. "Admiral," Gary nodded, falling into step beside her. "And we're expanding our presence in the chaotic regions," Chen said without preamble. "You're to establish a permanent base on Nexus 9. Gary's eyes lit up with excitement. "About time we put down roots there. When do we leave?" "Assemble your team immediately. You launch in 48 hours. As Gary set off to prepare for the mission, a group of aliens led by Cygnus arrived on Earth, their true forms hidden by advanced holographic technology. They dispersed, infiltrating key human institutions, including Space Command. Cygnus, disguised as a visiting dignitary, observed the frenetic activity in the command center. He watched as humans made split-second decisions, improvised solutions to complex problems, and embraced the unknown with a fervor that both impressed and terrified him. As Gary's team made final preparations for their departure to Nexus 9, Cygnus retreated to a secure location. He activated his quantum entanglement communicator, linking directly to the Galactic Council. "Esteemed colleagues," Cygnus began, his voice tight with urgency, "the situation is more dire than we anticipated. Humans don't merely survive chaos, they actively seek it out. Their potential to disrupt the galactic status quo is immeasurable. We must consider immediate containment measures." The council erupted into debate. Some advocated for isolating Earth, while others pushed for more direct control over humanity's expansion. Oblivious to the cosmic deliberations that would shape their future, Gary Holmes and his team boarded their ship. As the engines roared to life, Gary felt the familiar thrill of adventure coursing through his veins. Little did he know that the success of this mission would determine not only the fate of human-alien relations, but humanity's very place in the galaxy. The ship lifted off, streaking towards the stars, carrying with it the hopes, fears, and untapped potential of an entire species. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see if humans would bring order to chaos, or if chaos would consume all. The ship's engines thrummed as Gary Holmes and his team hurtled through space towards Nexus 9. Gary stood at the viewport, watching stars streak by, his mind already racing with plans for their new base. Behind him, his team busied themselves with final preparations, their excited chatter filling the cabin. Meanwhile, on Earth, Cygnus slipped through the shadows of Space Command's maintenance tunnels. His holographic disguise flickered momentarily as he passed security scanners, but the alien technology held. He emerged into a bustling corridor, straightening his jumpsuit with the name Carl embroidered on the chest. "Hey, new guy," a supervisor called out. "We need you in Sector 7. Some genius spilled coffee all over the main server room?" Cygnus nodded, suppressing a grin. This was exactly the opportunity he needed. He followed the supervisor, his eyes darting around, absorbing every detail of the high-security facility. As he mopped the floor in Sector 7, Cygnus covertly accessed the nearby terminals. His advanced ocular implants scanned and decrypted files at an astonishing rate. Blueprints, mission reports, and classified memos flashed across his vision. What he saw made his scales ripple with alarm beneath his holographic skin. Humanity's plans for expansion were far more ambitious than the Galactic Council had imagined. And at the heart of it all was something called the Chaos Engine, a device that could harness the very fabric of unstable spacetime. Across the galaxy, Gary's ship pierced Nexus 9's turbulent atmosphere. Alarms blared as the vessel bucked and shuddered. "Plasma storm dead ahead," the pilot's voice crackled over the intercom. "Brace for impact." Gary gripped his seat, watching through the view screen as writhing tendrils of energy lashed out at the ship. "Redirect power to the forward shields," he ordered, "and bring us down in that valley to the east. The rock formation should provide some cover." The ship plunged through the maelstrom, its hull groaning under the assault. With a bone-jarring thud, they touched down on Nexus 9's surface. Gary was the first to the airlock, eager to set foot on this chaotic world. As the door hissed open, a gust of sulphurous wind nearly knocked him off his feet. The sky boiled with angry clouds, and in the distance, a mountain crumbled into a suddenly formed chasm. "All right, team," Gary shouted over the howling wind. "Let's get to work. I want the base perimeter established before that plasma storm circles back." The crew sprang into action, unloading equipment and setting up prefab structures, but Nexus 9 seemed determined to thwart their every effort. Gusts of wind toppled half-built walls, and unpredictable gravity fluctuations sent tools floating away. Gary watched as frustration began to set in among his team. Then he noticed something, a pattern in the chaos. The energy surges that wreaked havoc on their equipment also left trails of ionized particles in the air. "Dr. Lakshmi," he called to the team's physicist, "those energy trails, can we harness them?" Lakshmi's eyes widened as she followed Gary's gaze. "If we recalibrate our power cells, we might be able to channel the surges. It's risky, but—" "Do it," Gary nodded. "Kieran Chen, help the doctor modify our gear, the rest of you with me. We're going to build a lightning rod like this planet's never seen." As the team raced against time back on Earth, Cygnus hurried to his hidden communications array. The information he'd gathered burned in his mind like a supernova. He had to warn the Council. In the secure chamber beneath an abandoned warehouse, Cygnus activated the quantum entanglement communicator. The faces of the Galactic Council shimmered into view. "Esteemed colleagues," Cygnus began, his voice tight with urgency, "the humans are on the brink of a technological leap that could upset the balance of the entire galaxy. They call it the Chaos Engine, a device capable of manipulating unstable energy fields to create stable wormholes." The Council erupted into alarmed discussion. The Etherian elder raised a crystalline hand for silence. "This cannot be allowed to proceed. We must act now to contain the human threat." Votes were cast, decisions made in the span of moments. Admiral Zixthor, an Arcturian known for his strategic brilliance, was tasked with leading a stealth fleet to the Sol system. As the council session ended, Cygnus felt a twinge of doubt. The humans he'd observed were reckless, yes, but also ingenious, adaptable. Was containment truly the right course of action? His thoughts were interrupted by a notification on his Earth communicator. His supervisor needed him for another cleanup job, this time in a top-secret research lab. Across the facility, Dr. Elena Stark pored over the data from Nexus 9. The ancient ruins Gary's team had discovered were a technological goldmine. Fragments of designs partially decoded alien language. It all pointed to a civilization that had mastered chaos itself. "This is it," she murmured, her eyes alight with excitement. "The missing piece for the chaos engine." As Elena threw herself into integrating the alien designs with their prototype, she failed to notice the new janitor, Carl, watching her with far too much interest. On Nexus 9, Gary stood atop a hill, surveying their progress. The makeshift lightning rod towered above the base, channeling the planet's furious energy into their power systems. Prefab buildings hummed with surplus energy, and the protective shields held firm against the raging storms. "We did it!" Gary grinned, clapping his second-in-command on the shoulder. "Now let's see what secrets this planet is hiding." As Gary's team prepared to delve into the ancient ruins, as Elena raced towards a scientific breakthrough on Earth, as Cygnus wrestled with his conflicting loyalties, and as Admiral Zixthor's fleet slipped silently through the stars toward Sol, the galaxy held its breath, poised on the edge of irrevocable change. Change. Gary Holmes wiped the sweat from his brow, surveying the progress his team had made on Nexus 9. The towering lightning rod they'd constructed crackled with energy, channeling the planet's chaotic forces into their makeshift power grid. "Dr. Lakshmi, status report," Gary called out, his voice barely audible over the howling winds. The physicist looked up from her console, her eyes bright with excitement. "It's working, Commander. We're not just surviving the chaos anymore. We're harnessing it." Gary nodded, a smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. "Excellent. Let's see if we can push it further. What about the wormhole experiments?" Lakshmi's fingers flew across the holographic interface. "Initial tests are promising. We've managed to create several stable micro-wormholes, but they're still too small for practical use." "Keep at it," Gary encouraged. "If we can scale this up, we might finally have a reliable way to communicate with Earth through all this interference." As if on cue, the communications array lit up. Gary rushed over, adjusting the controls to filter out the static. A familiar voice crackled through the speakers. "Nexus 9 base, this is Earth Control. Do you copy?" Gary's heart raced. "Earth Control, this is Commander Holmes. We read you loud and clear. The new energy array is working." Cheers erupted throughout the base. For the first time since their arrival, they had a stable link to home. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Elena Stark paced the floor of her laboratory, her mind racing with possibilities. The data streaming in from Nexus 9 had been the key to unlocking the secrets of the Chaos Engine. "Run the simulation again," she instructed her team. "I want to be absolutely certain before we proceed to a physical test." The holographic display flickered to life, showing a swirling vortex of energy coalescing into a stable wormhole. Elena held her breath as the simulation progressed, watching the metrics closely. "It's holding," one of her assistants exclaimed. "The wormhole is stable at the micro level." Elena allowed herself a moment of triumph. "Prepare the prototype. We're moving to Phase 2. As the team scrambled to set up the physical test, none of them noticed the janitor, Carl, watching intently from the corner of the room. Cygnus, hidden behind his holographic disguise, felt a mixture of awe and dread. The humans were progressing far more quickly than anyone on the Galactic Council had anticipated. In the shadow of Mars, Admiral Zixthor's fleet hung silently in space, cloaked from human detection systems. The Arcturian commander stood on the bridge of his flagship, tentacles twitching with impatience as he reviewed the latest intelligence reports. "The humans have achieved stable micro-wormholes both on Earth and Nexus 9, his second-in-command reported. At this rate, they'll have functional chaos engines within a matter of weeks." Zixthor's bioluminescent skin pulsed with concern. "Accelerate the construction of the energy-dampening array. We cannot allow them to harness this technology fully." As the alien fleet bustled with activity, a young human back on Earth was about to stumble upon a secret that would change everything. Alex Scora yawned, stretching in his chair as he performed routine maintenance on the research facility's computer systems. His eyes widened as an anomaly in the code caught his attention. What the hell? He muttered, fingers flying across the keyboard as he dug deeper into the encrypted message hidden within the system. The more Alex uncovered, the more his heart raced. Alien observers? A galactic council? It all sounded like something out of a bad sci-fi novel, but the evidence was right there in front of him. With shaking hands, he reached for his phone and dialed a number he hadn't used in years. Sarah, it's Alex. Remember how you always said to call if I ever found anything weird at work? Well, you might want to sit down for this. Back on Nexus 9, Gary Holmes led his team through the winding corridors of the ancient alien ruins. The walls pulsed with a faint, otherworldly energy that seemed to respond to their presence. Over here, Kieran, their xenoarchaeologist, called out, I think I've found something. The team gathered around a large, crystalline structure that dominated the center of the chamber. As Gary approached, symbols etched into its surface began to glow. It's some kind of recording device, Kieran explained, his voice hushed with awe. And I think it's activating. A holographic message flickered to life, showing a being unlike anything they'd ever seen. Its voice resonated not through sound, but directly in their minds. To those who come after, heed our warning. The power of chaos is seductive but uncontrolled. It brings only destruction. Our civilization fell to its own hubris. Do not make our mistake. Gary's blood ran cold as the implication sank in. They needed to warn Earth immediately about the potential dangers of the Chaos Engine. As he raced back to their communication array, Gary had no way of knowing that his urgent message would never reach its destination. High above the planet's surface, Admiral Zixthor's forces moved to silence the humans of Nexus 9, setting in motion a chain of events that would bring humanity face to face with its cosmic destiny. Destiny, the message from Gary Holmes, never reached Earth. Admiral Zixthor's tentacles curled with satisfaction as his technicians confirmed the interception. Excellent. Maintain communication blackout on Nexus 9. Prepare the strike teams. On Earth, oblivious to the looming threat, Dr. Elena Stark's team celebrated their latest breakthrough. The Chaos Engine hummed with power, a swirling vortex of energy coalescing into a stable wormhole. We've done it, Elena breathed, her eyes wide with wonder. Prepare the probe. Let's see what's on the other side. As the team scrambled to initiate the first test, the janitor Carl slipped away unnoticed. Cygnus hurried to a secluded corner, activating his hidden communicator. Council, the humans have achieved stable wormhole technology. We must act now. Across the facility, Alex Scora's fingers flew across his keyboard, his brow furrowed in concentration. Lines of code scrolled past, revealing fragments of encrypted messages. His heart raced as he pieced together the impossible truth. Aliens, he muttered, reaching for his phone. Sarah needs to know about this. Major Sarah Hawkins' voice was tense when she answered. Alex, this better be good. I'm in the middle of... Sarah, listen. Alex cut her off. I found something in the facility's systems. Evidence of alien observers, a galactic council. It sounds crazy, but... Slow down, Sarah interrupted. Meet me at the usual place in an hour. And Alex, be careful. As Alex gathered his evidence, Dr. Stark's team initiated their wormhole test. The Chaos Engine pulsed with energy, the air crackling with potential. A probe disappeared into the swirling vortex. Telemetry coming in, an assistant called out. The probe it's on Mars. We've done it. Cheers erupted throughout the lab, but they were short-lived. The wormhole suddenly expanded, energy arcing wildly. Alarms blared as the facility's power grid fluctuated. Shut it down, Elena shouted, racing to the controls. The energy output is too unstable. As they struggled to contain the Chaos Engine, the energy surge rippled outward, momentarily disrupting electronic systems across the globe. In orbit around Mars, Admiral Zixthor's fleet detected the spike in chaos energy. The humans have succeeded, he growled. We can wait no longer. Prepare for attack. Deploy the strike team to Nexus 9 immediately. On Nexus 9, Gary Holmes and his team were oblivious to the approaching danger. They worked tirelessly, delving deeper into the ancient alien ruins. Commander, Kieran called out, his voice echoing through the cavernous chamber. You need to see this. Gary hurried over, his eyes widening as he took in the massive crystalline structure. Symbols etched into its surface glowed faintly, pulsing in rhythm with their approach. It's some kind of data storage device, Kieran explained, his fingers hovering over the alien technology. And I think it's activating. A holographic message flickered to life, the alien being's voice resonating directly in their minds. To those who come after, heed our warning. The power of chaos is seductive, but uncontrolled, it brings only destruction. Our civilization fell to its own hubris. Do not make our mistake. Gary's blood ran cold as the implications sank in. We need to warn Earth, now. As they rushed back to their communication array, the ground beneath their feet began to tremble. Alarms blared throughout the base. Seismic activity off the charts, the science officer reported. This can't be natural. Gary's eyes narrowed as realization dawned. It's not seismic. We're under attack. Secure the alien tech and prepare for immediate evacuation. Back on Earth, Alex Scora met with Major Sarah Hawkins in a dimly lit parking garage. He laid out his evidence, explaining the patterns he'd uncovered. Sarah's expression grew grave as she absorbed the information. This is bigger than we imagined, Alex. We need to alert Space Command immediately. But their warnings fell on deaf ears. High-ranking officials dismissed their claims as conspiracy theories, refusing to acknowledge the potential threat. Frustrated but undeterred, Alex took matters into his own hands. He hacked into the research facility's security systems, gaining access to restricted areas. As he crept through the shadows, he heard a strange voice coming from a nearby lab. Peering around the corner, Alex's jaw dropped. The janitor, Carl, stood before a holographic display, his human disguise flickering to reveal his true alien form. Cygnus, unaware of his observer, continued documenting human technology. Alex's startled gasp alerted the alien. Cygnus whirled around, his eyes widening in alarm. "You shouldn't be here," he hissed, advancing on Alex. The young hacker turned to flee, but Cygnus was faster. A brief struggle ensued, ending with Alex pinned against the wall. "Wait," Alex gasped. "I know what you are. We don't have to be enemies." Before Cygnus could respond, the door burst open. Major Sarah Hawkins stood in the entrance, her weapon trained on the alien. "Step away from him, now." A tense standoff ensued, with Cygnus caught between the determined Major and the wide-eyed hacker. The fate of Earth's first alien encounter hung in the balance. Meanwhile, in Dr. Stark's lab, the Chaos Engine prototype hummed with newfound power. The team had successfully stabilized the wormhole, expanding it to human-sized proportions. "We're ready for the next phase," Elena announced, her voice tight with excitement and trepidation. "Who volunteers for the first human trial?" As her team debated the risks, alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. The Chaos Engine's energy output spiked dramatically, causing widespread electronic disruptions. Outside, the night sky lit up with an eerie glow. Admiral Zixthor's fleet, their cloaking disrupted by the chaos energy, became visible as they approached Earth's orbit. Panic spread across the globe as the alien ships were detected. World leaders scrambled to respond, their military forces caught off guard by the sudden threat. On Nexus 9, Gary Holmes and his team fought desperately to hold off the alien strike force. They used the unstable energy of the planet to their advantage, creating barriers of fluctuating chaos to slow the enemy's advance. "The evac shuttle is prepped," Lakshmi shouted over the din of battle. "But we can't leave the alien tech behind. It's too dangerous." Gary made a split-second decision. "Activate the prototype. We're creating our own way out." As Lakshmi worked feverishly to power up their salvaged Chaos Engine, Gary led the defense. The air crackled with energy as human ingenuity clashed with alien technology. The fate of two worlds hung in the balance. On Earth, humanity faced its first extraterrestrial threat. On Nexus 9, a handful of explorers fought to bring home knowledge that could turn the tide. And at the center of it all, the Chaos engine pulsed with unimaginable power, its true potential yet to be unleashed. Unleashed. The facility shook as energy surges rippled through the building, overloading systems and shattering containment fields. Dr. Elena Stark's team scrambled to regain control of the Chaos engine. Alarms blared, drowning out the shouts of panicked scientists. Elena's fingers flew across the control panel, her face illuminated by the flickering emergency lights. "We need to stabilize the output," she yelled over the cacophony. "Divert power from non-essential systems." As her team worked frantically to contain the chaos, a new idea struck Elena. She paused, her eyes widening with realization. Wait, what if we don't contain it? What if we harness it? Her second-in-command, Dr. Marcus Chen, looked at her in disbelief. "Are you insane? We can barely control it as it is." Elena's mind raced with possibilities. "No, listen. If we can modify the engine to generate controlled bursts of chaos energy, we might be able to use it as a weapon against the aliens." The team exchanged uneasy glances, but they knew they had little choice. With Earth under imminent threat, they had to take risks. Meanwhile, in a dimly lit interrogation room, Major Sarah Hawkins faced off against the alien known as Cygnus. The creature's human disguise had long since faded, revealing its true form, a being of shimmering, translucent skin and multifaceted eyes. "Why are you here?" Sarah demanded, her voice steady despite the surreal situation. "What does your kind want with Earth?" Cygnus's alien features arranged themselves into what Sarah could only interpret as an expression of conflict. "We came to observe," it said, its voice a strange harmony of tones. "To study your species' unique relationship with chaos?" Sarah leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. "And now, why is your fleet attacking us?" The alien seemed to hesitate. "Not all of us agree with this course of action. Some, like Admiral Zixthor, see humanity as a threat. Others—" Cygnus trailed off, its multifaceted eyes flickering with an unreadable emotion. "Others what?" Sarah pressed. "Others see potential," Cygnus finished. "Your people's ability to harness chaos energy is unprecedented. It could revolutionize galactic society." As the interrogation continued, Cygnus began to reveal crucial information about the alien fleet's weaknesses. The Arcturian ships, while technologically advanced, were vulnerable to sudden energy fluctuations. Across the globe, Space Command facilities buzzed with activity as they began retrofitting orbital defense platforms with the newly developed Chaos-based weapons. Engineers worked around the clock, racing against time to prepare Earth's defenses. On Nexus 9, the situation had become dire. Gary Holmes and his team found themselves cornered in the ancient alien structure, the air thick with the scent of ozone and the sound of energy weapons. "The evac shuttle's gone," Lakshmi reported, her voice tight with tension. "We're out of options." Gary's eyes fell on the alien chaos engine, its crystalline structure pulsing with energy. "Not quite," he said, a plan forming in his mind. "We're going to use their own technology against them." As the team worked to activate the ancient device, the ground shook with the force of the alien assault. The air crackled with energy as human ingenuity clashed with alien technology. "It's working!" Kieran shouted as a swirling vortex of energy began to form. "But it's unstable. We don't know where it leads." Gary looked at his team, purpose etched on his face. "We don't have a choice. It's this or capture. Everyone, move!" One by one, they leapt into the chaotic portal. As the last team member disappeared, the alien strike force breached the chamber. The unstable wormhole collapsed behind them, leaving their pursuers empty-handed. The journey through the wormhole was a maelstrom of light and sensation. When Gary regained consciousness, he found himself lying on cold, hard pavement. The sounds of traffic and startled shouts filled his ears. As his vision cleared, he realized he was in the middle of a bustling city street. Pedestrians stared in shock at the man in full space gear who had appeared out of thin air. In the distance, he could make out the unmistakable silhouette of the Empire State Building. "I'm in New York," Gary muttered in disbelief. Before he could gather his thoughts, he was surrounded by NYPD officers, their weapons drawn. "Don't move," one shouted. "Hands where we can see them." As Gary was detained, he knew he had to convince them of the impending threat. "Listen to me," he said urgently. "Earth is in danger. We need to contact Space Command immediately." In orbit, Admiral Zix Thor's fleet approached Earth, their cloaking technology rendering them invisible to conventional detection methods. As they entered the outer reaches of Earth's atmosphere, they encountered an unexpected obstacle. The space around Earth shimmered with an unpredictable energy field. Zix Thor's tentacles writhed in frustration as his sensors struggled to make sense of the chaotic readings. "What is this?" he demanded, his bioluminescent skin pulsing with anger. His second-in-command consulted the readings. "It appears to be some kind of energy shield, Admiral, but it's like nothing we've ever encountered. It's chaotic." Zix Thor's eyes narrowed. "The humans have weaponized chaos energy far beyond what we anticipated. Slow our approach. We cannot risk a direct confrontation until we understand what we're dealing with." As the alien fleet's advance faltered, Earth gained precious time to bolster its defenses. In a secure underground facility, Alex Scora found himself thrust into the heart of Earth's cybersecurity efforts. Surrounded by banks of computers and holographic displays, he worked tirelessly to fortify human communication networks against alien interference. "I've detected anomalies in our satellite systems," he reported to the stern-faced military officers overseeing the operation. "I think the aliens are trying to hack our global positioning network." As Alex delved deeper into the alien incursion attempts, he uncovered patterns that could be used to track the fleet's movements. His discoveries proved invaluable to the newly formed Earth Defense Coalition. In the skies above, chaos energy weapons clashed with alien technology. The experimental defenses proved effective, disabling several alien vessels and forcing others to retreat. However, the sheer number of enemy ships began to overwhelm Earth's defenses in certain areas. Admiral Zix Thor, frustrated by the unexpected resistance, made a strategic decision. "Divert a portion of the fleet to the moon," he ordered. "We'll establish a forward base there and launch a more concentrated attack." As battles raged in the skies and on the ground, an unexpected development unfolded. A group of alien scholars, part of Cygnus's original observation team, made contact with human authorities. Led by a female Centaurian xenoanthropologist named Lyra, they offered their knowledge and assistance in combating the invasion. Their decision to defect was influenced by their time studying human culture and their belief that humanity's unique relationship with chaos could benefit the galaxy. In a secure briefing room, Lyra addressed a group of skeptical human leaders. "We've observed your species for years," she explained, her alien features arranged in an expression of earnestness. "Your ability to harness chaos energy is unprecedented. We believe it could be the key to advancing galactic civilization." As the alien defectors shared their knowledge, Dr. Elena Stark and Gary Holmes worked feverishly to combine their understanding of ancient alien technology with the current Chaos Engine prototype. "If we can amplify the chaos energy output," Elena theorized, her eyes alight with possibilities, "we might be able to create a large-scale disruption field. It could incapacitate the entire alien fleet." Gary nodded, but his expression was grim. "The risk is enormous. An energy surge of that magnitude could have unpredictable effects on Earth itself." As they debated the merits and dangers of their plan, reports came in of alien forces gaining ground in key locations around the globe. The Earth Defense Coalition faced an impossible decision: authorize the use of the experimental large-scale chaos engine and risk unleashing uncontrollable chaos on Earth, or face the possibility of alien domination. The fate of humanity hung in the balance as military leaders, scientists, and unlikely allies gathered to make a decision that would shape the future of Earth and its place in the galaxy. The tension in the briefing room was palpable as military leaders, scientists, and unlikely alien allies debated the use of the experimental large-scale chaos engine. Their discussion was abruptly interrupted by a series of urgent reports flooding in from across the globe. Sir, we're receiving multiple distress calls, a young communications officer announced, his voice tight with stress. Major cities worldwide are under heavy alien assault. General Rodriguez, the grizzled commander of the Earth Defense Coalition, leaned over the holographic display. Red icons representing alien forces multiplied across the map at an alarming rate. They're going after our research facilities, Dr. Elena Stark observed, her eyes widening as she recognized the pattern. Admiral Zixthor is trying to eliminate our advantage. The general's eyes sharp. We're out of time. Dr. Stark, Mr. Holmes, you have your authorization. Get that chaos engine operational. As Elena and Gary rushed out of the room, Rodriguez turned to the alien defector, Lyra. We'll need every scrap of knowledge you have about their tactics and weaknesses. Lyra nodded, her multifaceted eyes reflecting the glow of the tactical displays. I'll assist in any way I can. Across the chamber, Alex Scora hunched over a bank of computers, his fingers flying across multiple keyboards. Military cybersecurity experts crowded around him, their faces illuminated by the harsh glow of monitor screens. I've found something, Alex announced, not looking up from his work. There's a vulnerability in their fleet's communication systems. If we can exploit it... Major Sarah Hawkins stepped forward, her expression determined. What do you need? Alex's eyes darted between screens as lines of code scrolled past. I'm developing a virus that could disrupt their coordination, but we'd need to deploy it directly into their network. Sarah exchanged a glance with Cygnus, the alien defector who had been providing invaluable intelligence. We'll do it, she said. Cygnus and I can lead a strike team to infiltrate one of their command ships. As plans were set in motion, Elena and Gary arrived at the secure underground facility in the Rocky Mountains. The cavernous chamber housing the Chaos Engine prototype thrummed with impossibly strong energy. Let's hope this works, Gary muttered as they approached the central control panel. Elena nodded grimly. It has to. They had barely begun the activation sequence when alarms blared throughout the facility. A security officer's voice crackled over the intercom. Outer defenses breached. Alien forces incoming. Gary's hands flew over the controls, initializing power-up procedures. We need more time. Elena grabbed a nearby comm unit. This is Dr. Stark. We need everything you've got to hold them off. The fate of Earth depends on it. As the sounds of battle echoed through the facility, Elena and Gary worked feverishly to bring the Chaos Engine online. Warning lights flashed across the control panel as energy levels spiked dangerously. The output is too high, Elena shouted over the din of alarms. We can't contain it. The ground beneath their feet trembled, and hairline cracks appeared in the reinforced walls of the chamber. Gary stared at the readings in horror. The energy fluctuations, they're destabilizing the entire mountain range. Elena's mind raced. We need a way to control and direct the chaos energy. Otherwise, we'll cause as much damage as the aliens. Gary's eyes widened as an idea struck him. The tech from Nexus 9. If we could use it to create a focusing array... It just might work, Elena finished. She tapped her comm unit. This is Stark. I need every piece of recovered alien tech brought to the main chamber immediately. As they awaited the arrival of the alien artifacts, Gary and Elena worked frantically to modify the Chaos Engine systems. The distant sound of energy weapons grew louder, a reminder of the alien forces pushing ever closer to their position. Meanwhile, high above the Earth, Major Sarah Hawkins led her strike team towards the looming bulk of an alien command ship. The sleek human stealth craft slipped past the outer defense grid, its cloaking technology enhanced by Cygnus's knowledge. Inside the craft, Sarah turned to the alien defector. Once we're aboard, we'll have minutes at most to deploy the virus. Are you sure you can get us to their central computer core? Cygnus's translucent skin shimmered with drive. I am certain, but we must be prepared for heavy resistance. As their craft docked with the alien vessel, Sarah addressed her team. Remember your training. Stay focused, stay alive, and no matter what happens, that virus has to reach its target. Back on Earth, the modified Chaos Engine hummed with power. Elena and Gary stood before the towering device, its crystalline structure now interwoven with the recovered alien technology. "It's now or never," Gary said, his hand hovering over the activation switch. Elena took a deep breath. "Do it." Gary flipped the switch, and for a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a sound like reality itself tearing apart, a massive surge of energy erupted from the device. The chamber filled with blinding light as a wave of controlled chaos expanded outward at impossible speeds. The energy pulse engulfed the Earth, creating a shimmering field of quantum fluctuations that stretched from the planet's surface far into space. The effect on the alien invasion force was immediate and dramatic. Across the globe, alien ships plummeted from the sky, their advanced systems overwhelmed by the chaos-induced interference. In major cities, the coordinated assault faltered as the invaders' weapons and communication devices failed. On the moon, Admiral Zixthor watched in disbelief as his carefully constructed forward base collapsed into ruin. Alarms blared throughout his command center as systems failed one after another. "Impossible!" he hissed, his tentacles writhing in agitation. How could they harness such power? But the chaos field's effects weren't limited to the alien forces. Across Earth, power grids flickered and died. Communication networks dissolved into static. Transportation systems ground to a halt as vehicles of all types lost power or control. In the Rocky Mountain facility, Elena and Gary struggled to maintain control of the Chaos engine. The device pulsed with energy, sending out wave after wave of reality-warping force. "We need to stabilize the output," Elena shouted over the roar of the machine. "If we don't get it under control, we could tear the planet apart." As they worked, the alien assault on the facility faltered. The invaders' energy weapons sputtered and died, leaving them vulnerable to the human defenders' counterattack. In orbit, the chaos field reached the alien command ship just as Sarah Hawkins and her team breached its outer hull. The vessel's internal systems went haywire, plunging corridors into darkness and causing gravity to fluctuate wildly. "Move fast," Sarah ordered as her team pushed through the disoriented alien crew. "We need to reach that computer core before they can lock us out." Cygnus led the way, his knowledge of the ship's layout proving invaluable as they navigated the chaos-stricken vessel. They fought their way through scattered pockets of resistance, the aliens' superior technology now more hindrance than help in the face of the chaos field. As they approached the central computer core, a group of alien defenders rallied to stop them. Energy weapons flared erratically, their beams twisting in impossible directions as they interacted with the chaos field. Sarah ducked behind a warped bulkhead, her pulse rifle clutched tightly. "We're running out of time. Cygnus, can you get that door open?" The alien defector worked furiously at a nearby control panel, its circuits sparking and sputtering. "Almost there!" With a grinding screech, the massive doors to the computer core slid open. Sarah and her team surged forward, laying down covering fire as they entered the cavernous chamber. "Plant the virus!" Sarah shouted as she engaged the alien guards in close-quarters combat. A human tech specialist darted towards the pulsing central column of alien computers. He pulled out a data device and began the process of uploading Alex Scora's virus into the alien network. As the upload bar crawled towards completion, the ship shuddered violently. Warning klaxons blared, their alien tones distorted by the chaos field. "The ship's breaking up," Cygnus warned, his multifaceted eyes scanning rapidly changing data streams. "We must leave now." The upload completed with a chirp, and Sarah's team fought their way back towards their entry point. Behind them, the alien command ship's systems began to fail catastrophically. As they reached their stealth craft and disengaged from the dying alien vessel, Sarah couldn't help but wonder, had they done enough? And what price would Earth pay for unleashing such chaotic power? Back on the surface, the battle raged on. Human forces rallied, adapting to the new chaotic reality faster than their alien opponents. But the uncertainty of the Chaos Engine's full effects loomed large over their hard-won gains. In the Rocky Mountain facility, Elena and Gary worked tirelessly to stabilize the device, knowing that the fate of humanity hung in the balance. The Chaos engine pulsed with energy, its effects rippling through space and time in ways they were only beginning to understand. As the conflict entered this new, unpredictable phase, one thing became clear. The war for Earth had changed forever, and nothing would ever be the same again. As the Chaos engine's energy field enveloped Earth and its surrounding space, the battlefield transformed into a surreal landscape of unpredictable phenomena. Alien ships careened wildly through the atmosphere, their advanced systems rendered useless by the swirling chaos. On the ground, human defenders watched in awe as their own equipment sputtered and died, only to spring back to life moments later with newfound capabilities. In the heart of the alien command ship, Major Sarah Hawkins and her strike team pushed through corridors bathed in flickering emergency lighting. The ship's artificial gravity fluctuated wildly, causing them to stumble and float in equal measure. "This way," Cygnus called out, his translucent skin pulsing with bioluminescence in the darkness. He led them around a corner, narrowly avoiding a group of disoriented alien crew members. Sarah's comm unit crackled to life, Alex Scora's voice barely audible through the static. "Major, the virus is ready. You need to reach the central core within the next 10 minutes or it'll be useless." "Understood," Sarah replied, her voice tense. She turned to her team. "You heard him. Move out." They fought their way through the chaos-stricken vessel, their own weapons behaving erratically in the energy field. Energy beams twisted in impossible arcs, and projectiles phased in and out of existence. Sarah relied on her combat training, adapting to the ever-changing conditions with lightning speed. As they approached the central computer core, a massive alien guardian blocked their path. Its tentacles writhed, crackling with energy that seemed to draw strength from the chaos itself. "I'll handle this," Cygnus said, stepping forward. He engaged the Guardian in a bizarre dance, their alien physiologies allowing them to navigate the chaotic environment with greater ease. Sarah and her team seized the opportunity, slipping past the dueling aliens and into the computer core. They worked quickly, uploading Alex's virus into the alien network. As the upload bar crawled toward completion, the ship shuddered violently around them. "We're out of time," Sarah shouted. "Fall back to the extraction point." They fought their way back through the disintegrating command ship, Cygnus rejoining them with ichor staining his translucent skin. As they reached their stealth craft and disengaged, Sarah watched the massive alien vessel break apart in a spectacular display of light and energy. On Earth, the situation was equally chaotic. Major cities worldwide plunged into darkness as power grids failed under the strain of the energy field. In New York, the skyline flickered like a faulty neon sign. Tokyo's advanced transportation systems ground to a halt, leaving millions stranded. London's iconic clock tower chimed at random intervals, its mechanisms influenced by the swirling chaos. At Earth Defense Coalition headquarters, General Rodriguez struggled to maintain order as communication systems fluctuated wildly. "Get me a status report on our orbital defenses," he barked, his weathered face illuminated by the glow of emergency lighting. A young lieutenant approached, his expression a mix of confusion and excitement. "Sir, you're not going to believe this. Our soldiers, they're changing." Reports flooded in from around the globe. Human defenders displayed unprecedented reflexes, dodging alien energy beams with impossible speed. Others demonstrated enhanced cognitive abilities, outmaneuvering the invaders with complex, instantaneous strategies. In the Rocky Mountain facility, Dr. Elena Stark and Gary Holmes worked feverishly to stabilize the Chaos engine. Sweat beaded on Elena's forehead as she manipulated holographic controls, her movements becoming increasingly precise and intuitive. "Gary, look at this," she called out, her eyes wide. "The chaos field, it's not just affecting our technology, it's affecting us." Gary nodded, his fingers flying over a console with inhuman speed. "I've noticed, our ability to adapt, it's being amplified exponentially." A thunderous boom shook the facility, nearly knocking them off their feet. Elena pulled up a holographic display of Earth's orbit, her face paling at the sight. "They're targeting the moon," she whispered, watching as alien energy beams lanced out from the remaining ships, striking the lunar surface with devastating force. Gary's mind raced, drawing on his experiences from Nexus 9. "We need to distribute the chaos effect," he said, an idea forming. "If we create a network of smaller chaos engines around the globe, we can control the field more precisely." Elena nodded, already running simulations. "It could work, but we'll need to modify the designs, create something we can mass-produce quickly." As they worked, Lyra entered the room, her alien features set in a determined expression. "I can assist with the modifications," she offered. "My knowledge of both human and alien technology may prove useful." The trio threw themselves into the task, their enhanced cognitive abilities allowing them to make breakthroughs at an astonishing pace. Within hours, they had a working prototype of a miniature chaos engine. General Rodriguez's voice crackled over the comm system. "Stark Holmes, we need options. The aliens are pushing hard, and this lunar bombardment is causing havoc with our tidal systems." Elena responded, her voice steady despite the pressure. "We have a solution, General. We're sending you schematics for localized chaos engines. If we can deploy these strategically around the globe, we can turn the tide." As the Earth Defense Coalition mobilized to manufacture and distribute the new devices, Major Hawkins and her team made a startling discovery aboard the remains of the alien command ship. "Sir," Sarah reported, her voice tight with excitement, "we've uncovered files, a prophecy. It speaks of a species that would challenge the cosmic order, balancing chaos and order. I think they're talking about us." The implications of this revelation rippled through the human forces. As the localized chaos engines came online, humanity's newfound abilities flourished. Cities reawakened, their technologies adapting to the controlled chaos. Human defenders moved with unparalleled coordination, their strategies evolving faster than the aliens could counter. High above the Earth, Admiral Zixthor watched as his carefully laid plans crumbled. The lunar bombardment, intended to break humanity's spirit, instead galvanized their resistance. His remaining ships, once an unstoppable armada, now struggled against the human counterattack. "It cannot be," Zixthor muttered, his tentacles writhing in agitation. "The prophecy, could it truly refer to these primitives?" As the battle reached its crescendo, with humanity pushing back the alien forces on multiple fronts, Admiral Zixthor faced a critical decision. The cost of the invasion mounted with each passing moment, and the newfound information about the prophecy burdened immensely on his mind. In the skies above Earth, human and alien ships engaged in a dance of destruction and creation, the chaos field birthing new realities with each passing second. On the ground, enhanced human defenders wielded technologies that blurred the line between science and magic. The fate of not just Earth, but potentially the entire galactic order, hung in the balance. As humanity pushed towards victory, the true implications of their awakened potential remained uncertain. The chaos they had unleashed could be the key to their salvation or the catalyst for an even greater conflict. Admiral Zixthor stared at the holographic display, his compound eyes reflecting the chaos of the battle raging around Earth. His remaining ships, once proud and invincible, now struggled against the human counterattack. The Admiral's tentacles writhed in agitation as he processed the rapidly changing situation. "Supreme Commander," a subordinate approached, its exoskeleton clicking nervously. "Our losses are mounting. The humans' adaptive capabilities exceed all projections." Zixthor's mind raced. The prophecy they had uncovered, the humans' unprecedented ability to harness chaos. Could it be true? Were these primitives truly the key to cosmic balance? After a moment of contemplation, the Admiral made a decision that would alter the course of galactic history. "Initiate a ceasefire," he commanded, his voice resonating through the command center, "and open a channel to the human leadership. It's time we talked." On Earth, the sudden silence of alien weapons caused a ripple of confusion through the human forces. In the Rocky Mountain facility, Dr. Elena Stark and Gary Holmes exchanged puzzled glances as their instruments registered the ceasefire. "What's happening?" Elena asked, her fingers flying over holographic controls. Before Gary could respond, General Rodriguez's voice crackled over the comm system. "Stark, Holmes, we're receiving a transmission from the alien command ship. They're requesting a parley." Hours later, a hastily assembled human delegation found themselves aboard a neutral space station orbiting Earth. The station's systems hummed with a blend of human and alien technology, carefully calibrated to withstand the effects of the chaos field. Dr. Stark stepped onto the station's observation deck, her heart racing. Beside her, Gary Holmes fidgeted with a handheld device, his enhanced cognitive abilities allowing him to process multiple data streams simultaneously. The airlock hissed open, revealing Admiral Zixthor and his retinue. The alien leader's tentacles rippled with bioluminescent patterns, a sign of complex emotions, Elena guessed. Major Sarah Hawkins, fresh from her mission on the alien command ship, stepped forward. "Admiral," she said, her voice steady despite the tension in the air, "we have information you need to hear." As Sarah presented the details of the ancient prophecy, a hush fell over the assembled delegates. Cygnus and Lyra, acting as mediators, translated the nuances that human language couldn't capture. "A species that would challenge the cosmic order," Zixthor mused, his tentacles twisting in complex patterns. "Balancing chaos and order. Could it truly be us?" Gary finished, his eyes shining with the realization. Humanity isn't a threat to galactic stability, we're necessary for it. Elena seized the moment. She activated a holographic display, showcasing the network of miniature chaos engines they had developed. "We propose creating controlled chaos zones throughout the galaxy," she explained. "These areas would serve as incubators for innovation, allowing for rapid advancement while containing potential risks." Admiral Zixthor's initial skepticism was evident in the way his exoskeleton bristled. "And how can we trust that these zones won't spread uncontrollably?" he demanded. Gary stepped forward, a confident smile playing on his lips. "Allow me to demonstrate," he said, activating his handheld device. The observation deck's windows flickered, transforming into a vast display. Gary's fingers danced over the controls as he simulated a complex galactic problem, a collision between two neutron stars that threatened a densely populated sector. "In a traditional orderly system," Gary explained, "the evacuation and containment of this event would take years, possibly decades." He then introduced a controlled chaos element to the simulation. The results were astonishing. Solutions appeared and evolved rapidly, with evacuation routes optimizing in real time and containment measures adapting to the changing conditions of the stellar collision. "With controlled chaos," Gary concluded, "we can solve problems that once seemed insurmountable." Admiral Zixthor's compound eyes widened, his tentacles writhing in what the humans hoped was excitement rather than anger. "Remarkable," he breathed. "The potential applications—" As the negotiations progressed, the atmosphere in the room shifted from tense standoff to cautious collaboration. Ideas flowed freely, with humans and aliens alike contributing to the vision of a galaxy enhanced by controlled chaos. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Alex Skora led a global initiative to stabilize the planet's infrastructure. His fingers flew over keyboards, his mind operating at an enhanced level as he developed an adaptive AI system to predict and mitigate chaos-induced fluctuations. "We're not just rebuilding," Alex explained to a team of international scientists. "We're evolving. This system will allow us to maintain our new capabilities while gradually restoring order to our civilization." As the hours ticked by, the negotiations on the space station reached a critical point. Admiral Zixthor conferred with his advisors, their alien features unreadable to human eyes. Finally, the Admiral turned to face the human delegation. "We are prepared to recognize Earth as a sovereign and equal member of the galactic community," he announced, his voice translated by the station's systems. A collective breath of relief swept through the human delegates. Elena stepped forward, her voice steady despite her racing heart. In return, we pledged to share our chaos harnessing technology and to establish and maintain the proposed chaos zones throughout the galaxy. As the agreement was formalized, a new era of galactic cooperation dawned. Admiral Zix Thor, in a gesture that surprised even his own subordinates, offered alien assistance in repairing the damage to Earth's moon. "Let this be the first project of our new alliance," the Admiral said, his tentacles forming patterns that Cygnus translated as a sign of sincere goodwill. As the human delegation prepared to return to Earth, Major Sarah Hawkins found herself standing next to Admiral Zix Thor, gazing out at the blue-green planet below. "Your world," the Admiral said, his alien voice tinged with what might have been awe. "It thrums with potential. We were wrong to fear it." Sarah nodded, a smile playing on her lips. Fear of the unknown is universal, it seems, but so is the capacity for growth and understanding. As their ship detached from the station and began its descent to Earth, the delegates watched the alien fleet reconfigure, weapons powering down and research modules extending. The sight filled them with a mix of relief, pride, and anticipation for the challenges and discoveries that lay ahead. On the planet's surface, cities around the world erupted in celebration as news of the peace agreement spread. The chaos-enhanced communication networks carried the message faster than ever before, uniting humanity in a moment of triumph and hope. In the Rocky Mountain facility, Elena and Gary shared a quiet moment amidst the frenzy of activity. They stood before the Chaos Engine, its pulsing energy a reminder of how far they had come and the vast journey that still lay ahead. "We did it," Gary said softly, his enhanced mind already racing with possibilities for their next project. Elena nodded, her eyes fixed on the swirling energies before them. "We did," she agreed, "but this is just the beginning." As night fell over a transformed Earth, its inhabitants looked up at the stars with new eyes. The galaxy, once a distant and mysterious realm, now beckoned with the promise of adventure, discovery, and a future where chaos and order danced in perfect harmony.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.